your camper? Called the doghouse. Doghouse. What? Doesn't have a bathroom. So we just have going down. If it was just well, yeah. Does it matter red or blue? And then the ones that you see in red and blue are because they have they're these pieces down here because they connect to this. So like this one, just as an example, blue on top, red in the middle. Our landowner has talked to the acequia for 12 years. When you see what she crosses every evening when she has to do the spillway regulation that controls this pond. This is the site of our veteran restoration work that we did last year. It was 550 hours that our vets committed to this project. We fundraised over $5,000 to see water retention in this pond. So right now when you're looking at it and you see all this aquatic vegetation, all these macroinvertebrates, all this life that is needed, just recognize that this water has been here for just a little over a year. And then the other big aspect about this pond that we all should recognize is that we had a carbon kill-off from the Tecolote splinter fire that was a part of the Hermit's Peak fire. But when it broke, that splinter and that amount of water comes into the acequia and the pecos right in Anton Chico land grant. We had a complete carbon kill-off down the river. We were talking if there's still any trout in the river. I don't think so. We had 42 citizen monitors look at that water and they only found 3 black fly larvae and 2 minnows. And those kids went from a silent river right there in Anton Chico to this location, which scored very, very well for our macroinvertebrates. And we had many macroinvertebrates that are completely pollution intolerant. When you look at this pond, it's a great opportunity for our veterans, our youth, active military, first responders, everybody to enjoy the outdoors and get hooked on it. But the thing that's most important about this pond is, as we rise this pond, as it surges and it goes down to the fields, it either goes down to the fields so that Marietta can germinate her agriculture, or it runs directly into the pecos. And so if you have a whole section of river that's completely dead and we send this water down to the pecos, we put in the cheese and the meat to the river sandwich. Because right now the river is struggling on algae, it's struggling on aquatic vegetation, and at the time of last year we know it was struggling on macroinvertebrates. The sign of life in the river is here, and it's because of the work they did. So we're going to grab hand tools and we're going to go to the site of our wheelchair accessible blind, and we're going to move a back side of the berm. And as soon as we get that moved, then these guys who are very specialized in what they do for construction will be able to take over. If you have any construction background, if you know how to work a drill or a saw, you might find that this is the crew you want to get on.
The Powell family donated the lumber. They also donated a lot of the nails. Almost every single one of the men in my family have served, and that's where the veterans hold a soft spot for me. So as much as I can do for them to make things a little bit easier and to give them access to areas that they can hunt that normally they don't have access to because of the mobility issues that they face, to me that means more than anything.
Forest's crew is going to break. They're going to offload all of this steel that's going to the welding project, so we're going to say goodbye to them. If you're on Forest's crew, be safe. We're sending you Hermit's Peak Watershed Alliance, so they'll work on your riffraff, get right to your welding, your specialized stuff.
We're doing welding to create a catwalk so that we could cross the acequia. Before, the ranch owner was crossing on just a 2x4. That's why we are putting in something that's a lot safer with a handrail, so that anyone who needs to work on the acequia, turn the valves, turn the gates, can do so safely and divert water to irrigation purposes.
This weekend they were working on getting me a bridge to where I could cross the ditch, because I'm the only one that goes to that clean out whenever there's big storms or issues, and I have to open up the clean out so that the water can not make messes down the ditch too. And all the silt that we get, all the silt buildup that we've gotten, it helps me to manage that. So it'll be a relief to be able to get across the ditch safely. I've fallen in that ditch so many times, it's not even funny, and now at least I'll be able to cross it without having to get into it. and that'll be a miracle.
We also have another crew, and we're going to do the pontoon and the layout boat.
We put a anchor system out in the middle of the pond that's got a snatch block and buoy set up in order to help assist pulling the layout blind out in the middle of the water. The blind is specifically designed for veterans with disabilities. I got acquainted with Impact Outdoors through word of mouth. Another squadron member wasn't able to take a hunt and sent it my way, and me and about 4 or 5 other guys went out on a dove hunt. Did it 2 days in a row, and since then I've been in contact with Matt, been hunting some other times, and did a workshop with him about a year ago. First workshop I did was a water attainment project on this section of property. Built a lot of little dams and water retention locations in order to help flood and water irrigate the local environment. As an active duty member, coming from out of state, it was hard to fall in love with New Mexico, and Matt pushed me to drive a little bit and explore more areas, and since then I've been all kinds of places and visited beautiful portions of New Mexico and fell in love with a lot of it.
So we've seen a lot of vets come through and a lot of kids. It's been amazing. They worked on a pond that we had dry for, I'd say, 20 years. That pond is now back to where it is usable for the agriculture and for the hunting. This year there was a lot of ducks and geese born there again, which that had not happened in years.